how have you applied the principles and practices of generative change to bring new solutions to businesses and organizations during the upheaval created by this pandemic? So that's going to be the question I'd like to explore with my panelists, and each has come prepared with a kind of a case to share. And what we're going to do is take about 5 minutes each, and I'm going to ask my panelists to share their cases. Great. Till, would you want to go next?
Absolutely. Let me also share my screen. I want to share a case study. I have met Anja Gockel, a local fashion designer, in, I think, 2018. And I want to talk about what she experienced kind of ever since. So we met at a networking event, and Anja is kind of famous in Mainz. She has been Designer of the Year in Germany in 2017. She runs local and bigger events, and she also these days is on Germany's Next Top Model as one of the fashion people. So she has a name, certainly with my daughters. And so I met her on that networking event, and just walked up to her and so, well, what do you do? What do you do? And we get a little bit into the somatic metaphors I use from an Aikido practice to actually get into an embodied view. And that got her into one of my 2-day seminars. If you have been to my masterclass yesterday, then you know that I'm into the parallels of Aikido and mindset, Aikido and, well, the embodiment of how to solve nifty problems. So let me share with you the timeline. So this starts then that she visited a workshop. I brought a picture. You actually see me with a beard here, and we had this nice outside experiences on getting, well, connection and transformation into the physical world. And that was a great workshop that we had, for sure. And afterwards, we kind of, I wouldn't say lost contact. So we chatted here and there. And then we started to think about how to apply that to her about 20 people company, a successful company that runs in the fashion industry with like one of the few 20 people companies that hasn't been eaten in this Shark Tank of fashion, which is kind of a fairly competitive area, to say the least. So while we were still discussing what to do, Corona strikes. That means shops are being closed down, you cannot sell anymore. And especially for people in fashion, it comes in phases. It's not every day the same thing, but actually spring is a high selling time because Anja does fashion for women, to empower women. And that would have been one of the most important phases in the year. So what do? We actually decide to take the ideas that Anja loved from that generative mindset approach to the whole team. And then we did mainly outside workshops because we had Corona, as you can understand, to have the whole team understand these mindset principle concepts, especially of how to stay in a generative state, even under pressure, how to deal with responsibilities, and especially, and that is one of now Anja's famous and favorite sayings, how to take the hit as a gift. And the result of that is actually that in the summer of 2020, there was one single company that did Berlin Fashion Week, and that was Anja Gockel Fashion. They did this show in the Adlon Hotel. They had very few people that could actually come and could watch the show, but it was the only fashion show in the Corona year. And they even carried that one further, because in January, when it was again time, they were this time not the only fashion company that did Berlin Fashion Week, but there was others. But they realized that they couldn't have any guests. Anja said, that means I have space. And she turned the fashion around this fashion show. She turned it around from a typical walking show to actually a dancing show, saying there are so many people out there who work in the culture industry and they don't have space where they can go to perform. So let's have them perform. And this is how it looks like if you really take the hit as a gift. This is how fashion can be if you manage to remain in a generative state. And I hope this works. I even prepared, a short piece out of this show. And it's more or less a random part of a 34-minute show where I can just highly recommend that you jump into that and take a look at how you, if you come under pressure and you have this generative approach, can really change fashion by taking the hit as a gift. So while this keeps running, let me just share 2-3 more thoughts on that. If you want to go into especially smaller business, I believe it's a good idea to start with the head of the business and to talk to the boss and get them involved into these ideas that you can really do something differently. And then you need to step into the problems that they have. And I mean, who I'm telling that. Anja and I didn't work so much together, but there was so much going on that in a sense, she only needed these last few impulses to get a completely new perspective on how she was working together with her team and how the problems that her team formulates, everything has to go over your desk, and you are the bottleneck, can then be turned into an opportunity to really improve the business and then come up with something as beautiful as this year. So
fantastic.
This would be the link, and I'm touched by this. I know that Anja has done several things with her team, how to get somewhere, and she says that she wouldn't have come through the Corona crisis without the generative work that I had the opportunity to present to her.
Wow, fantastic! Thank you, Till. That's very inspiring and a great example of how generative change is so necessary in those kind of crises.